Okay, alright. Time for episode 2 of Pokemon Fire Red. So, as we leave PALLET Town, we talk to this girl who, whoops, did twice. She copied the sign. Okay, now let's go to Viridian City. Just like that song. I like that song. By the way, if you talk to this guy who works at the mart, he'll give you a free potion, which is pretty useful in this stage of the game. Although later they're pretty useless. Okay. Now, for those of you wondering, instead of the usual 6 team members like most LPers do, I'll only be having 5 to make room for an HM slave. Because while I'd love to have 6, HMs in this game are just everywhere. You're gonna need them a lot, especially compared to the later games. So yeah. Okay, the first thing you're gonna want to do when you hit Viridian City is go to the mart and talk to this guy. Well, you don't really have to talk to him; he talks to you. So he gives you a parcel. And so what you're going to want to do is go all the way back to Pallet Town and give it back to Professor Oak. Now, getting back from a town to a previous town is a lot easier than going to one. Because, see, you can use these ledges to skip the grass entirely. And, you know, that eliminates any wild encounters you might have had otherwise. Although, in this case, you do have to cut through this grass. But it's not much. Okay. So, now all we have to do is go in the lab and deliver it to Professor Oak. After 2 minutes. Okay. Delivered Oak's parcel. The custom Pokeball. Wonder what that could even be. And Professor Oak will give you something very neat. Pokedex. It's not going to be all that important in this particular playthrough, because we're not going to try to complete it or anything. And, in fact, I won't be catching Pokemon all that often. I'll just be catching them if I use them for my team or as an HM slave. You know, that stuff. So 5 Pokeballs, that's actually kind of a lot in the beginning of the game. Alright, so that was my dream. Now he's too old. Doesn't look that old. Okay. Maybe 40. Alright. So long, Brandon. We don't see him until a little later. No, actually, it's optional, but you can see him pretty soon and again. Alright, now you talk to his sister, and she'll give you something pretty useful. A town map. Once you get Fly, the town map becomes considerably less useful, because as you're flying to a town, you can look at which ones... I mean, you can, like, look at the map while you're flying there, so... But before you get Fly, it's pretty useful. Alright, so now we gotta go all the way back to Viridian City. It's weird, we haven't had a single there we go. I knew that would jinx it. That's why I said it. Alright, Fire Friend. We're just gonna scratch up this Pidgey. It's only level 3, which is half the level we are, so we don't really have to worry about growling at it. It's not gonna be that big a battle. Oh yeah, it got a critical hit. That means it did twice the damage it would have done otherwise. Those happen very rarely, but they almost always happen to you, not for you. Okay. Now that we've made it to Viridian City, well, almost. Okay, now that we're here, we can go over. Well, first, let's go here. I went ahead and cut that part out, because, you know, who wants to see that? Okay. So yeah, I'll be cutting out any unnecessary wild encounters, or trainer battles, and stuff like that. So, talk to the guy over here, and... yeah, he shows you how to catch a Pokemon. Whether or not you already have. And, I don't know where he found a Weedle in Viridian City, but he did. And now he's going to explain to us in detail how to catch it. by simply going to your bag and selecting Pokeball. Yep, that's great education. Don't bother weakening it or anything like that. Why bother? So anyway, he managed to catch the Weedle with one Pokeball, not even touching it beforehand. I really don't know why they did that. You think the game developers would want you to know more about how to catch them, but whatever. Who cares? Okay, so he gives you a TTTV, which you will never use. I promise you, you will never use it. But you know, if this is your first Pokemon game, it might come in handy a little. I don't know. But if you've ever played one before, you'll never use it. Alright, so. Okay, now we can go to Viridian Forest, which is where you catch Caterpie and Weedle. And Pikachu. Viridian Forest. Okay. So you talk to this guy. And he says he came here with his friends to catch some bugs. By the way, there's an antidote right here if you touch the tree. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk to this friend. He doesn't want to battle. That's weird. That's an odd place to stand if you're not going to battle. Okay, now let's get this. A potion. Alright. Wild encounter. So cute. I'm just gonna KO it. I need the experience. Oh, this is gonna be a lot more trouble than it's worth. You know what? I'm cutting the rest of this out. Alright, so from fighting that Caterpie and beating it, Fire Friend leveled up and learned Ember, which is an extremely useful move here. I mean, it's just perfect. All these people are gonna have Caterpie and Weedle and stuff like that. So with Ember, they're nothing to you. You're gonna blast right through them if you chose Charmander. If you chose Squirtle, it's kind of neutral, but if you chose Bulbasaur, then I would probably suggest catching a Pidgey or a Spearow before coming here. Because otherwise, it's gonna be pretty hard. Because Weedle... oh, poison. Anyway, Weedle quad resists Bulbasaur's grass type attacks. And Caterpie resists it regularly, so it's gonna be pretty hard. If you chose Squirtle, just don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Okay. Okay, poisoned. Luckily this is just regular poison, which is like the most common poison. Basically at the end of every turn you lose a little HP. So it's not that bad really. The only real problem with it is that in the overworld, if you're walking, every few steps you take, see, that happens, and it loses a bit of HP. So we're gonna go all the way back to the Pokemon Center. Oh wait, nope. I just remembered we have an antidote. Perfect. Antidotes cure poison completely, so both kinds of poison. Both regular and bad poison. Alright, now to make our way through. There's another bug guy. I don't think we'll be fighting him. Yeah, we will. I'm gonna cut this out though. Okay, back from that. Now, let's keep going in. Here's an item. I like how all the items are inside Pokeballs. Can't you just take the Pokeball too? Anyway. Let's go this way, because there's no grass, and I don't like grass all that much. Alright, we avoided that guy. Oh, man. You know, I actually tried recording this episode before, but Audacity screwed up, and I lost all the audio for it. So this is my second take on it. Phew, there's a bug guy. I'm pretty sure he fights. And I was right. You know what's weird? In this game, Metapod has its face at the bottom of its body, but everywhere else, including other games and the anime and everything, it's at the top of its body. I always thought that was weird. Like when I first played this game, I thought, is that Metapod? You know, I wasn't sure at first, but it is. It's really weird. These bug catchers actually give you a lot of experience for what they have. So I'd suggest battling every one of them if you chose Charmander or Squirtle. Especially Charmander. Alright, one more trainer battle. This one's actually required because you have to walk through here to get to Pewter City. And he has a Weedle. You know, if you're thinking about catching a Caterpie or a Weedle in this forest, I actually wouldn't discourage it. They're not that great to use later on, but Butterfree has 97% accurate sleep powder, which is amazing. Which means it'll pretty much hit every time. You can count on it hitting every time. Beedrill doesn't have much going for it, except that it can reliably poison something if you use Poison Sting enough. So, I mean, either one of them isn't that bad to have at the beginning of the game, but you're going to end up ditching it later, most likely. And Route 2. Just north is Pewter City, where the first gym is. And we'll be getting to that in the next episode. So, for now, see you later. By the way, I just wanted to show this. We'll be getting a Rattata, too. Not as a team member, but if you've ever played a Pokemon game before, you should know what this is going to be used for. Whew. And I'm gonna name it. This will make it all very clear. Slavey. Alrighty then. See you later.